I tried to make it on one of my other videos. I am old and ugly, and just argue with myself for free out loud therapy. And if somebody happens to catch on my channel and hear 2 seconds and don't care if they listen or whatever they want to, or they hear it accidentally and they forget or whatever, Indeed website, it does not email back for jobs. But on one of my other channels, if you happen to find it, you can petition uptown at the county courthouse. For young adults interested in doing better for themselves and not out to hurt people, because they're probably morally good too. But you can petition at the local courthouse, and it takes a couple months. Don't think you're going to go up there and they're making fun of you, because they're not. But you can sign up for ask about it's called subcontractor jobs for the city. And there's tons of them, but not these easy. That's why you got to wait for a couple months for one. But go to a courthouse near you, and it does take a couple months, because every other subcontractors that comes up for bid at that courthouse is serious shit, plumbing and electrical and stuff like that. But every once in a while, there's one for a janitor to come up in that town, and then they're always held at the courthouse, like a tax house auction sale. You know what I'm saying? But that you got to fix it up, or like buy it out loud, outright, because that's what tax courthouse sales come for. Cities or houses are run down if you want to invest. But if you see a janitor's bid come up at the courthouse, which is rare for a factory or a venue or a doctor's office, dentist's office, something like that in that town, pick it up, and basically you're your own contractor. But right before that, you have to apply at the courthouse for like a $10 janitor's permit. That means you're your own business. You know what I'm saying? And if you get that bid in, when it does come in a couple months later, or that year, it may take a year, for like a local dentist office that needs a janitorial company, that would be you without a career. If you get that bid for like a dentist office or a doctor's office, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever, I don't know, some other kind of building in the town, you're your own boss. You're the janitor, a business person. And when you get that small place, you can buy the cleaning places from a place called there's places called cleaning what's it called, it's like a building that sells the commercial janitorial distribution center, like that, a janitorial warehouse or whatever, something like that. I just been so long since I thought of it. But anyway, you go to there and you can get all your supplies, or you can just get them at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Depends on how many trashes you got to empty in that dentistry. But you got to have a mop bucket, a trash bags, and the owner will tell you one time, because you're supposed to be a business. You're a janitorial business company owner now, for $15 for your permit. At first, you'll have to do it until you get more bids. But you have to use the toilet brush to mop all the community bathrooms in the break room, because if one overflows or something, it'll show up. You have to scrub it. You know what I'm saying? The bad tartar off the toilets, even if it is clear, because one night it may overflow, and you know what I'm saying, then it will show where you didn't clean. You have to have a mop and bucket, a cheap sweeper, don't clog the sucker up, and your own janitorial bags to empty the bags, and you got yourself a job. However many times he'll tell you, one time, and you have to clean that whole place, the break rooms, everything he tells you, and you'll be on your own for a while, but standard income. And then once you get another bid, which could take a year or two, but you're not getting like 100 bids and become a janitor millionaire from every building in America. No way. But the first bid that you get, that's yours for a couple years. The bid's only good for 2 years. And then if he don't think you're doing a good job, he'll renew your bid. He can deny you, or he can accept you again. That's why I'm saying you have to do a good job. And you don't have to go in those janitor places, but if you need certain janitor supplies for cleaning things, but yeah, I mean, if you're a vacuum, you're cleaning the break room and everything, and you get it clogged up every week after 2 years, he can get a new bid and somebody else. But if he likes you and he keeps you after 2 years, you can get another bid when another one comes up, and then maybe you can have your wife or your kids take on that janitor job, and you'll know. But don't fuck up a whole bunch of bids in that town and can't move because you're panicky. And yeah, another thing is temporary services. If you Google temporary services, young adults, usually most of it's factory, but in some towns, under temporary service, you can get a job at the morgue, you can get a job at a hospital, you can get a job as a custodian in another hospital, janitors, nursing home, through a temporary service. All you got to do is go there, give them your 3 identification forms, birth certificate, a social security card, and license. And they'll make you you have to do like it takes like 2 hours to do an online test of your past background. And then once it takes about 3 weeks, once they do the background check to make sure you're not going to kill grannies that chopped up body parts in the corner, and that you have a somewhat of a good record, they'll ask you what things you want. If you put regular general worker, if there's lots of factories in that town, they'll probably put in a factory. Or if it's another town, they'll give you a janitor, maybe a morgue job, maybe something else. But they'll find you proper occupation. And then after 90 days through that after the first day, then the temporary service, you have to keep calling them like every week and say, hey, you got anything for me yet? Because you can't expect them to work for you and come to you and hand you a job like a cake. You apply for the temporary service the first day, fill out your paperwork, have your forms of ID, and then in 2 weeks call back, and they'll want you to do a class after that to make sure that you're not playing stupid, like in a light toilet paper in the bathroom and act like that's your only thing. It's basically like high school, general, like 8 hours of a test, and you have to do a drug test, a pee in a cup at the hospital that they'll send you to, and then it's like $15 once you get hired in. And they can do that anytime. Don't get hurt on the job, any job. Don't get a cut, or don't do drugs. But and then they'll give you safety glasses and hearing glasses or whatever. And then every 2 weeks, everybody applies for temporary services. Just put general labor because you don't have a career in heating, cooling, electric, or whatever college career for young adults. And then once a temporary service, call the temporary service just once every 2 weeks and say, hey, my name's blah, 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 and my social security's blah, blah, blah. Do you have anything for me yet? Because they're dealing with tons of other people. And they'll say, why, yes, we do. We have this job. You think you'd like to start it? And they'll start, and after 90 days, that place will hire you in. You want to check the box, temporary or a full-time. And once you check in a temporary that you're looking for full-time job, if once or twice they give you a job for full-time and it's just a really hard job and you're grossed out, then you can say, can you give me one more job? And then and after 90 days at your full-time job, if you like it and want to keep that job for a year and a half or 2 years or 3 years or longer, you're no longer employed after 90 days. Through the temporary service, they charge you $1 on your check per hour. After 90 days, the company hires you in for full-time, whatever job it may be, Dairy Queen, McDonald's, a factory, morgue, a janitor, whatever. And then after 90 days, if you check full-time, then you're no longer have to pay that $1 to the temporary service for helping you. Then you're employed by that company, and you work to a full-time employment, whatever. But don't lie.